Hi, T. Carlson here, and once again, time for some classic rock on CD. One of my favorite power pop bands of all time, Cheap Trick, has just reissued this complete epic albums collection. This originally came out probably about 8 years ago. Great collection of all their stuff from 1977 to 1990, but it went out of print and started fetching really heavy prices online, so glad to see this has been reissued. I don't have the older box, so I can't really compare the two, but from what I can tell, they're probably pretty much the same. We'll unbox this, I'll go through and show off the contents and share my opinions. Here's our cover art. Got the top side, this side as well. Got some of the album artwork pictured on this side, bottom of the box. We open this up, and it has all of the albums in individual CD sleeves, plus a booklet. The booklet has all of the track lists, some of these added in bonus tracks, so this is how you keep track of what's there because they're vinyl reprints and they don't reflect the added tracks when and where there are some. Now, the albums from One on One onward do not include bonus tracks, but those have been newly remastered for this collection, or specifically probably the original release of the collection that came out several years ago. So, again, you got this nice booklet here that's got all the credits and a lot of the vintage photos and things from the original liner notes. So this is very nice to have. Got some pretty cool photos in there. Now I'm going to go through each one and I'll share my criticisms and so forth. Debut album came out in 1977, produced by Jack Douglas. This one featured the song Hello Kitties, He's a Whore, Taxman, Mr. Thief. There were some great cuts on this record. Speak Now or Forever Hold Your Peace. And one thing that's a bit of a point of contention on this, the original vinyl was divided into side A and side 1, so you don't really know which one's supposed to come first. The original vinyl and what's printed here implies that side A, starting with Hot Love, comes first, but the CD version that's in here implies that the side starting with Hello Kitties comes first. So who knows? It does make this track list inaccurate, or rather, backwards. But great debut album. Bonus tracks on here include an early studio version of I Want You to Want Me. Next up we have In Color, one of a studio trio of albums produced by Tom Werman. In color and in black and white. I do like these vinyl reprints. They're pretty faithful to the original versions, which is nice. This one even has the gatefold replicated, which is a cool touch. This one also has a few bonus cuts. Maybe Cheap Trick's best album overall, featuring cuts like Hello There, Big Eyes, Downed, the original studio version of I Want You to Want Me, You're All Talk, Oh Caroline, Clock Strikes 10, Southern Girls, So Good to See You. So many classics here. The band thought Tom Werman kind of overproduced the group on this, and they actually did raw versions in the late 90s with Steve Albini, which were a little truer to their original vision. But it's a great album regardless, and I don't think any Cheap Trick fan will disagree. Next up we have Heaven Tonight, their third studio album. This one, again, also produced by Tom Werman. Tracks on here include Surrender, On Top of the World, California Man, which is a cover of a song by The Move, Off Wiederson, the title cut, Stiff Competition. Some great tunes here and an excellent follow-up. This one also has a handful of bonus tracks. Next up we have At Budokan, the complete concert. They didn't just stick the original Budokan album on here. They actually gave us the 2-CD complete concert version that came out a few years ago. So I'm glad they actually didn't just take the easy route there. And this even has the gatefold replicated, which is very cool. One of the greatest rock live albums of all time. Primarily consisting of songs from, of course, their first 3 records, including stuff that would later appear on the following studio album, Dream Police, which I think was actually recorded prior to this but released later. And then, of course, there's the cover of Fats Domino's Ain't It a Shame, which is very good. And the version of I Want You to Want Me on here is the version that became popular. Dream Police, their 4th studio album, also produced by Tom Werman. This one has the classic title track as well as the lengthy epics Gonna Raise Hell, Need Your Love, and some other great tunes that include Voices, one of the greatest rock ballads ever written. Handful of bonus tracks on this one as well, including a no strings version of the title song. And this has a gatefold replicating the original vinyl as well. Found All the Parts EP from 1980. This is just 4 tracks, and these were originally included on CD as bonus tracks with the reissue of All Shook Up. But in here they wanted to give it its own package, which I kind of appreciate. Tracks on here include the classic Take Me, I'm Yours, and a cover of the Beatles' Day Tripper. So I'm glad to see that this actually got the standalone treatment, which is very cool. Next up we have All Shook Up, their 5th album, 1980, produced by Beatles producer George Martin. This one will probably forever be known for its opening cut, Stop This Game, one of their best songs, but then a lot of other good tunes to go around. Can't Stop It, but I'm going to try as another personal favorite. Of course, with these little reprints of the vinyl, it's kind of hard to read the text here, but fantastic album, and it's one of the more underrated ones. This has the song Everything Works If You Let It from the Roadie soundtrack as a bonus. It doesn't have the Found All the Parts EP tracks as bonuses because, of course, we got that as a standalone disc in here. The albums going forward do not include bonus tracks, but again, they were newly remastered for the collection. One on One from 1982, produced by Roy Thomas Baker. This is the one that gave us the hits She's Tight and If You Want My Love. Next Position, Please from 1983. This is the authorized band version, which has more songs than the original album and a different running order, although, of course, the art here depicts the original vinyl running order. Standing on the Edge from 1985. Something of a comeback album, a premonition to their later comeback success with The Flame a few years later. This one has the track Tonight It's You, one of the greatest classic melodic rock tracks ever written. And this one was produced by Jack Douglas, who'd previously produced their debut album. I also wanted to add, too, since I forgot to mention earlier, Next Position, Please was produced by Todd Rundgren, another noteworthy personality in the music world. The Doctor, 1986. Really heavy synth pop type album, not seen by fans as one of the better albums, but it still has some pretty solid cuts, and I think it does tend to get a bit of a bad rap. Not one of the better Cheap Trick albums, but probably not as bad as everybody says either. Lap of Luxury, this came out in 1988, and of course features the hit song The Flame, which became the band's only #1 hit, and of course put them back on the charts. There's also a cover of the Elvis Presley classic, Don't Be Cruel. And lastly, we have Busted from 1990. An album that doesn't get talked about much, but it's better than people say or perceive it to be, and I think it's worth another look if you haven't listened to it lately. It's a pretty comprehensive set, but unfortunately there are a few omitted songs that are kind of a disappointment here. First of all, it doesn't include the 3 extra tracks that were on Budokan 2 that were included from the 1979 follow-up tour. Those should have been in here as bonus tracks, either on the Budokan album or the Dream Police album. Also not included is Reach Out, which is from the heavy metal soundtrack. That really should have been a bonus track on the All Shook Up album because it's from that era. And the absolute biggest omission in my eyes that I'm very disappointed not to see here is the song Mighty Wings from the Top Gun soundtrack. That should have been on The Doctor as a bonus track because that, of course, came out during the demo sessions of that album. Another missing track is their cover of Magical Mystery Tour, later released as a bonus track on their Greatest Hits compilation. According to the band, that was actually an outtake from the sessions for the Lap of Luxury album. And the originally released remastered version of One on One had an extended version of If You Want My Love with an added bridge. That's not included here either. I'm disappointed to see that a lot of the albums that came out after All Shook Up lack the bonus tracks that some of the individual reissues have had, that being one of the major examples. However, you pay a pretty low price here and you get a lot of bang for your buck. If you want to get all these albums on CD in one convenient place, despite missing a few bonus tracks, I would have to say this is the set you should get and certainly the cheapest, fastest, easiest way to get them. Are you a fan of Cheap Trick? What's your favorite album and song? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content because I'm always posting new videos. And make sure you give this one a like if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. See you next time.